Welcome back to Halftime TV. Norando Brown here and my co-host Darius Burris. And this week we have another scintillating fixture for you. We'll be discussing the Bundesliga, Serie A, and both their competitiveness, as well as we'll be touching a bit on the All-Star weekend, which is making all the headlines across the world this weekend, and also a little bit about the number one draft pick, Mr. Zion Williams. How are you doing today, Darius?
Man, I'm good. I'm great. It's a wonderful world, a day in the sports world, as you say, All-Star weekend. But we'll start it, of course, with the Bundesliga, Serie A. As we can see now what's going on with these two particular leagues. They have now become the most competitive leagues in Europe, because I think it's 1 point separating first from second in the Serie A, and in the Bundesliga I think it's probably about 2 points if my memory serves me correct. So, Mr. Brown, you tell me, what is the reason for this all of a sudden? Because, as you know, for years gone by, Juventus has been running away with Serie A, and I think Bundesliga titles, I think the last 7 years has been Bayern Munich. So, what do you think is the reason that these leagues have, all of a sudden, there's so much parity?
Well, first of all, before I delve into that, let me thank all our viewers from the last episode of Halftime. We really look forward to continued relations with all our viewers and subscribers. We really appreciate your support and your continued support, as a matter of fact. Please remember to like, share, and leave your comments, your feedback, your viewpoints in the comment section. Feedback is always welcome, and we really anticipate that. But to your question, Darius, the Bundesliga and Serie A, I think the metrics on both are different. As it relates to Bayern Munich, I think they have fallen off somewhat. So it's more of Bayern Munich falling off rather than the other teams getting extremely good.
So not even a little credit.
I'll give them a little credit then. Put it that way. I'll give them a little credit, but it's primarily a lapse in Bayern's path. Because if we should assess it thoroughly, we would recognize that Bayern Munich hasn't had the greatest form in the past 9 or 10 months. I can't pick out the top players in Bayern Munich. No, Coutinho, he's on loan from Barcelona. He's a fringe player for the most part. Thomas Müller, he was isolated from the German team, and he's just now picking up a bit of momentum since then. Jerome Boateng, he's in and out of the team, and these are all aging players. We have Serge Gnabry, he's the main man, and Robert Lewandowski. So the team is overly reliant on those two players, and whenever they have good games, Bayern Munich has a good game. If I'm to go over to Serie A now, I think a lot of talent has been migrating to Serie A of late, and it has contributed to the league getting somewhat better. We saw in January, Antonio Conte basically raided the English Premier League. He
raided Manchester United, Mr. Brown. That's what you really want to say.
I
could call the players on my hand.
Okay.
From last season, Lukaku,
hold on.
Sanchez.
Yes, Lukaku, Sanchez, and Ashley Young, right? And remember, Eriksen, Victor Moses are also there.
Eriksen, just one each from North London.
Regardless, so he took Victor Moses, who he won the English League with Chelsea with. He took Eriksen, who had approached the end. He's approaching the end of his contract, but still he has been one of Tottenham's best players for the better part of 5 years. I think of that Gareth Bale money that was spent, he's maybe one of the best players he's the best player that came from that batch of players that were bought with the money they earned from Gareth Bale.
He was supposed to be Luka Modric's replacement, because you remember Luka Modric was in Tottenham, then he went to Madrid, of course.
Yeah.
And I think Eriksen was supposed to fill that role.
He did well. He has had it.
Okay, I would say.
No. He did far better than okay. He's had a dip in form of late, but we can't neglect his contribution to this Tottenham team. He has made Dele Alli look good. He has made Harry Kane look good. And most times we only mention the person who is on the finishing end, and we tend to ignore the one who creates everything and
Well, I guess he was a
knits
bit
things
underrated.
together. Yeah, he is underrated. He still is. He still is. Because in my opinion, he was one of the best midfielders in England. And he was really consistent as well, and that's what I appreciated about him. He didn't show up one week and then decided not to play the other week. Whenever he was going out on the field, he gave his 100%, and that's what we appreciate in professionals. But not to go too far away from the question, as I said, I think we had Napoli, who have been running close to Juventus for the past few years.
Mind you, they just beat Inter Milan 1-0. So it's really a race in Serie A right now.
Yeah, but Napoli has been a good team. They've been consistent as well throughout the years. They had Lavezzi. I remember the days of Lavezzi and Cavani, and they've always produced good players who are loyal players as well.
But for some reason, as you stay on Napoli, for some reason they seem to not be able to get it over the line.
Over the line,
They always run Juventus pretty close. Well, they have been doing that consistently for a few years. Not all the time, but they have been there or thereabouts for second or third. And for some reason, when it really matters, Napoli seems to fall flat on their face. I'm going to ask you this. Do you think that the league will actually change hands this year, or do you believe that it will stay in the hands of Juventus?
Yeah, I think from a managerial perspective, Antonio Conte stands a better chance of winning the league than Ancelotti had with the Napoli crop of players. So let me put it that way. So Antonio Conte versus Maurizio Sarri, because that's what it's down to now.
You have a bias against Sarri. I just want to see that. I'm observing you Chelsea fans.
You hold
on to things.
No. I personally, I didn't have a problem with Sarri at Chelsea. I didn't appreciate his style of play and how he had the team playing. But as a manager and his achievements, where he was coming from and where he was at the moment, I appreciated that, because it shows growth and it shows hard work and determination, and it's something for youngsters who are considering going in sports or any other profession to admire, and I admired his path. So I have nothing against Maurizio Sarri, let me put that out there. Antonio Conte, it's the same thing. He was a good manager at Chelsea. He didn't get the backing he wanted, and in the end, he left on a bitter note.
Before you continue,
yeah.
Since you said he's a good manager, I remember last week we had a particular discussion, manager versus coach. In the case with Maurizio Sarri and Conte, would you say there is a better coach between the two of them? As in, would you say Sarri is probably a better coach than Conte, or would you say Conte is a better coach? Since you like to separate them, but as you know, my opinion on that is...
I know.
They are one and the same, but I believe there are facets of both within the managerial post.
Yeah. Let me put it this way. I think as it relates to managing, Sarri would have had the edge over Antonio Conte. Antonio Conte, I think, is a better manager. So, in a nutshell, because Antonio Conte took Victor Moses and made him into a world beater, and Marcos Alonso.
A world beater?
Well, that season at Chelsea, he was unstoppable.
Like, you sure you want to retract that and use that?
No, I don't want to.
Island beater, I wouldn't say the word.
I don't want to retract it because he was coming. Remember, Victor Moses. Chelsea bought Victor Moses from Bolton, right?
Yes.
So
Bolton are right winger, I think.
Yeah, I think Bolton or Wigan. I think it was Wigan. Yeah, I think it's Wigan. Yeah, and so and Marcos Alonso, he was at Sunderland, and then he went to Fiorentina, and we got him in from Fiorentina. So
Will Beater, Mr. Brown.
Yeah, Victor Moses Victor Moses, the season Antonio Conte won the league with Chelsea was unstoppable. Yeah.
Unstoppable, Mr. Brown.
Unstoppable
Mr.
as a wing back.
Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown. No, Mr. Brown, don't do me that.
Unstoppable. The same way.
Some games where he played excellently. I would want to see that.
No.
I am not going to go as far as to say Victor Moses was unstoppable at any point in time in his entire career. I am not going to say that. And I don't think you should be caught saying that on camera. You probably should retract that statement.
Victor, as a Chelsea fan, Victor Moses, that season Antonio Conte won the English Premier League. You were unstoppable, my friend.
I am smelling bias. And it stinks.
The Liverpool fans would say the same about Andy Roberts and Trent Alexander-Arnold. So,
even go down that road. Go ahead. I'm not going down that road.
So Antonio Conte, he basically did what Klopp is doing now with Andy Roberts and Trent Alexander-Arnold with Marcos Alonso and Victor Moses. So he's a better manager in my viewpoint because he gives off that aura. Even when you're watching him in the press conferences, he has a really strong presence, and you can tell that this person is someone to be reckoned with. Like even without looking, when he steps into a room, you can tell he's there. So Maurizio Sarri doesn't have that. He's a bit more reserved and laid back and seems more of an introvert to me. He focuses way more on the intricacies and the tactical side of it. So yeah.
Fair enough. But what I'm thinking right now, since we are mentioning the parity within the Bundesliga and the Serie A's of this season, what it is they are doing that the Premier League is not doing, or what it is that the Premier League is missing now, because for years we have been saying that the Premier League is the most competitive league in Europe, but now we are seeing a situation where, of course, it looks like this is Liverpool's title to lose, and most likely, even if they lose a few games, they still may not lose the title. You mentioned VAR the last time we spoke regarding something along these lines. Is it that you believe VAR has a part to play in the fact that these both leagues are, they are applying VAR in the proper manner, the proper quote-unquote manner, as you would say, and that the Premier League is miles behind and needs to probably take a page out of the book from Serie A or from the Bundesliga? What do you think about that?
Before I even answer that, I'm going to ask you a question as well.
Go ahead.
Was it, I think, season before last, because last season Liverpool lost the title by a point, I think.
I think.
Yeah, and the year before, Manchester United were second.
16 points, I think.
Yeah, somewhere there, 16 or 19 points, somewhere in that region.
And 19, somewhere.
Yeah, so because I was thinking about it. I was thinking about it throughout the week, and it came to me. Do you think then, during that season that Manchester City won the league, was it that the league was extremely bad, or was it that Manchester City was extremely good?
I would want to say a little bit of both, because there were situations I looked at, as well, we all know it's common knowledge that Manchester United is my team, but there were situations when I thought we were going to get caught, by the other teams, when we were in second place. So for some years now, the quote-unquote Big Four, or the Big Six as you would look at them in England, not all of them have been consistent, as opposed to the earlier years when Fergie was in charge and Arsene Wenger was in his heyday and so forth. You had four particular teams that were always there or thereabouts fighting, but now that is not the situation. You have seen Arsenal has dropped off. We have been in transition for quite a while and have come sixth quite a few times. Chelsea won the league, I think, 2 or 3 times in the last 6 years or 7 years. I think it's 2 times. Under Conte and under Mourinho. But there was a season they fell off, they came 10th or something like that. So it's a matter of consistency. Manchester City, since Pep has been there, I think they came 4th first and then he won the league. And then I've seen a situation here where they have fallen off. So consistency is an issue. For some reason.
But is it fair though to say that they've fallen off, considering they're still in the top 4? because
They have
hold
fallen off
on,
because when you look at what they have done.
hold on, because not to cut you off, but Manchester City, we have to remember, ever since there was a big takeover then, and they emerged as a powerhouse in world football. They haven't fallen off. There are some seasons that they didn't win the league, because naturally we don't expect them to win the league every single year that is put forward. But I wouldn't go as far as saying that they're falling off, Darius.
They are victim of their own high standards.
Right, so put it that way. But if you are...
but they have already lost about 6 games for the season. I think that's more the match the amount they lost for the entire of last season.
Regardless, but we've seen teams lost 6 games and still win the league. So
how long ago that was? Since Fergie was still managing.
So losing 6 games, Manchester City losing.
That standard has long been raised for the past few years. You can't afford to lose to me.
Yeah.
To win the league, no, the English Premier League, I don't think you could lose more than probably 5 games.
Yeah,
the way how teams are playing and the way how it seems, the trend. I'm going to trend here.
Yeah.
The trend in the recent years is that the teams that have won seem to be running away with the league for that particular season.
Liverpool lost 1 game last season, no?
Yes, they did actually.
Right, and they lost the league. So City lost, I think, 3 games last season. And they won by a point. So as I said,
the draws, I guess, is what killed Liverpool.
Yeah, so they're allowed to have these off seasons. It's the same way they're allowed to have off days.
But we're going to transition a bit here into our next topic. We at least mentioned this weekend, of course, is the NBA All-Star break. So we have Team Giannis versus Team LeBron. It's a situation when you look at the rosters and the makeup of the rosters, it looks like Mr. Brown. On the West, we have established stars with the exception, well, when I say established, veteran stars, with the exception of Luka, who I think he's in his 2nd year, of course. And then we look at the East. The East looks more like the rising stars, meaning this is the new crop of stars of the NBA. I just want to ask you, who's your pick?
I think Team LeBron. I think Team LeBron will win.
Is he in charge of the rising stars, or is he in charge of the veterans?
He's in charge of the veterans. Well, yeah. And surprisingly, one of the biggest surprises of the pick, because I watched the draft pick, was his first pick was you wanna guess?
His teammate? Anthony Davis?
Anthony Davis.
Why wouldn't he?
So, I won't even elaborate much on that. But we saw Giannis picking 2 of his fellow African colleagues as well.
Embiid.
Joel Embiid. Yeah, so he got both of them in on his side. So I was really expecting him to get Kawhi Leonard when he was down to, I think, his 3rd pick. But it is what it is. I think LeBron has seasoned superstars, while he has budding stars.
Well, sometimes experiences doesn't always trump youthful exuberance, So we shall see. We shall see how that pans out. But I somehow believe I am actually going to go the next week. I actually think Team Giannis could do a number on the veterans. Somehow I'm getting a vibe, I'm getting a hunch that they somehow will beat them. But that is the
fair enough.
That is the business.
I think Giannis in explaining why he picked Embiid, he said he picked Embiid specifically to deal with Anthony Davis. So keep an eye out for that matchup.
Exactly. Tactics.
So so it was basically a chess match, because he swapped his picks to counter what the picks LeBron had, because LeBron got the first pick.
Exactly.
So based on the players
He picked
LeBron
players,
picked,
in other words, to counteract the player that
exactly.
LeBron picked, So he
Right,
is
right.
playing a chess match in his head. That is why I say I
Yeah,
believe he can pull a rabbit out of a hat. I would say
yeah,
they would write him off. These are all professionals and these are all
yeah.
star players. But somehow I believe the players on the side of Giannis, they are more hungry. Because as you know, LeBron, face of the league. We know all of us know Anthony Davis and we know James Harden, of course. These players want to beat these guys to show them that, hey, yes, you may be established, you are around a while and your name is calling as one of the best in this cast, whatever. We want to beat you. We want to show you that, hey, we can be just as good or even better than you. So I
But
believe that
but
hunger is what will drive them to beat that team.
but who do you think will be the first five on the court though for LeBron?
Well, based on the format, I think it has starters versus reserves. So wouldn't they
Yeah,
start
yeah,
with
but
who
but
was voted?
it's a
I
want your opinion though.
election.
I want your opinion. Yeah, I think it's he had Harden, Kawhi, Anthony Davis, himself, and Doncic.
Right, and I think those five will start.
Okay,
Because
all right,
it's
fair
for
enough.
TV, So, as I say, it's a glorified election. So they will, obviously, they will start with the most popular five.
The players, yeah, they'll start with the players that everyone wants to see.
Fans. And then, of course, you will mix it up. I guess coaches will, of course, mix it up. When you're actually trying to win the game, you will play who you think having a hot night or whoever, whatever the case be. That's how I look.
Yeah. On that note, possible future All-Star, Zion. He's played I think 7 games so far, and he's on fire to say the least.
He said he is the fifth. I think he's the fifth person under 20 to have 5 straight games of 20 points and I think 5 assists or something like that. He's in some rare company because I think it's Andrew Wiggins, Doncic, LeBron, and 2 other people. I think they are the only ones that has ever done something like that. He's looking pretty good. He looks fit.
Have you watched any of his games?
Actually, I have. I'm watching quite a bit of basketball these days, and I have seen him quite explosive. I saw the game where he had about 4 3-pointers in the last quarter. I think that was against the Spurs, I believe. So that shot is falling, and I told someone, I said, if he can get a consistent jump shot to add to that explosiveness so that he could probably pull up from mid-range, if he could add those facets to his game, he can be unstoppable, because as much as Giannis is, of course, taller than him or whatever, I am not sure putting a body on what's his name again? I can't even remember. Putting a body on him, on Zion, sorry. I'm not sure putting a body on him could actually stop him, because in terms of sheer size and strength, I don't think there's any other player in the NBA that can match him.
He's extremely difficult to defend against. I've watched maybe four of his games so far, and I'm wondering how you defend a player like this. Do you double up on him, because he's getting in quite a number of assists as well per game. So if you double up on him, he's gonna pass the ball. And then,
if you drop back from him to prevent the drive,
he
can
make the shot.
But the question I want to ask, I am still concerned about his size, Mr. Brown. His size. I am not certain with that explosiveness. I'm not certain with that body type. He would be very durable in the league, and I think he still has to take off a few of those pounds. Yes, they say he has, I must say, 2% body fat or something like that. But I believe he still has to come down a bit smaller, because those hops, how can he jump like that with all that weight?
I've been hearing it throughout. Ever since he was drafted. Zion
has his body size and bones as me and you. Much as he has all these muscles, the bones are still the same.
Regardless, I think with proper coaching and management, he will get it right.
Coaching cannot change body type, Mr. Brown. It can't.
Pardon me?
Coaching cannot change body type.
No, but they'll change his roles and his responsibilities. They will play the team to suit his strengths. Because if they're preserving a player, say for instance he's probably dribbling too much or whatnot, then the coach can probably tell him, hey,
Yes,
cut
but you
down
will
on
take
this,
away the
or
facets
get
of
the
his
ball.
game that actually
Yeah, but
make him who
you
he
probably
is.
play him further up the court then, right? Play him closer on the defenders, etc. If you get what I'm saying. So I think with proper management, they'll get over it. He's still 19 years old.
Fair enough. There's time. There's plenty time.
Yeah, there's a long
fresh
way
in the
to go.
league.
So I'm not too
Once
worried
his
about that
body
for
holds
now.
up,
And
once his
yeah,
body holds up, because I have my concerns. I have voiced them along with many other analysts, but we shall see. Zion, I wish you the best, and of course, I
have a
seeing
question for you. I have a question for you though.
Yes.
Do you think that because Zion is the face of the league to be, we are hearing little to nothing about the other rookies that came into the league and have been doing well? Because ever since Zion came back from injury, the media hasn't been running with Ja Morant anymore.
You would say so?
Yeah. Since Zion came back, all the NBA pages, they have been covering Zion's games. They have been putting clips from Zion's games all over to show that, okay, this is how Zion performed on this particular day. This is how Zion was on this day. I haven't been seeing Ja Morant flooding mainstream NBA media as often as it was before Zion came back into the league. Zion was out, 3-4 months? Was he out for 3 months?
Yeah, actually more than that. He came back around the ending of January, probably the second.
Yeah, he came back, I think, the 20 something. Yeah, so and throughout that 4 months, Ja Morant, basically he inserted his name into the discussion, and even you and I were here discussing it at one point, what we thought of him and his talent and his prowess so far in the league. And we still have to consider that Ja Morant is still 20 as well, and I think he's averaging maybe 17 points per game, considering he's played a bit more minutes than Zion Williams.
So what you're basically asking is if you think that as a result of Zion's return, would that affect, as in the coverage Ja Morant will get? That's what you're asking.
I am asking you if do you think Ja Morant was a placeholder because the NBA didn't have a rookie to lavish about while Zion was away?
To answer your question, I don't think so. I'll tell you why. Because I want to believe, I could tell you this, Ja Morant's talent is there and it's showing. Let us say this. If Zion was playing for the entire time that Ja Morant was playing as well, I think Morant would be covered as well in it, because he has been doing a bit of spectacular things. I've seen quite a few spectacular plays from that young man. Yes, albeit he wouldn't be covered as much. I could agree to that. I could agree with you there. But I think they wouldn't have any choice but to cover him in some aspects because of what he has been doing with that young Grizzlies team. So yes, as of right now, Zion is the novelty event. He's the just come. He now come out, and of course he was the hype prior. So of course he'll be covered now. And I wouldn't say that Ja Morant is stale, but Ja Morant talent speaks for itself. And of course I crown him the Rookie of the Year already. I don't think there will be anybody else who would get the Rookie of the Year. He has done enough to me so far.
Halfway into the season.
More than half, actually. I think it's not 50 games. I think a little more than half. So who you think? Who else? Do you think Zion will get it in 30 games? Come on.
well. I wouldn't put it past the NBA. Let me put it that way.
That'd be just wrong. I can't do that. I would stop watching basketball if that is a foolishness to do. That wouldn't be fair.
Let me put it that way. But regardless, we will be here to assess it come the end of the NBA season. I think Ja Morant, he has been spectacular throughout the season so far, and it's rather interesting
to see. Guys are walking highlight reel.
Yeah, I think he begs for some of the attention as well. He does something.
He over elaborates sometimes. I've seen it.
Yeah, because that dunk that he tried with was it Love?
When he jumped over the guy's head.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but the man have some option. He has some option.
So as I said, he's just one of those kids who who's excited to be in the league and who's proving that he belongs here. So in closing, I'll say this. The NBA All-Star Weekend will be quite interesting, and for those who are tuned in, let us know in the comment section what team you are bringing, and also let us know your views on the competitiveness of the Bundesliga and the Italian Serie A in comparison to the current English Premier League.
Alright, this is Darius Burris and my co-host Norando signing out for this episode of Halftime TV. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment. Have a good night, folks.
All right. Have a good night. Thanks again. Yeah. Take care. Manchester City has been hit with a 2-year ban from the UEFA Champions League. For those who aren't aware of what constituted this ban, Manchester City misreported their funds. They basically received money from the owners and reported it under the sponsorship Etihad. They reported to FIFA that they were granted the funds by Etihad, and they pumped this money back into the club. Der Spiegel, a German newspaper outlet, initially broke the news, and a probe was being launched into the allegations. But today, Manchester City have been found guilty. And in addition to the 2-year ban from the Champions League, they have to pay a fine of 30 million euros as well. Manchester City, it's going to be a rough 2 years. It's going to be extremely difficult to attract players. And my colleague and I, Darius, will go further in depth in this in our next episode of Halftime. So stay tuned until the next episode, where we will dissect this situation. We will assess the implications of this ban for Manchester City as a club, as well as Manchester City as an organization, and the players they will attract going into the next 2 or 3 years.